Hi, in tonight's video, working on Mr. Peabody. I am kind of getting a little tired of work on Mr. Peabody, and my mind is getting a little distracted that I want to do another game. But I struggle and I push on to finish this game to a point where I could at least put it on the website. So, while you guys weren't watching, I just added more sounds to the game. You know, last time we were here, we put sounds on Mr. Peabody running, jumping, and we put background music. And there's the gun that I pick up. And I added some sounds for that. So what I want to do tonight is have some reason for him to have the gun. So we're going to add some enemies that are situated throughout the level that with the gun it can help you get past them. All right, so what I did was I worked on some more graphics in my little bag of tricks here in this folder, and I got this eyeball guy, this eyeball enemy guy. And let me just see what I have here in my folder. I have a lot of folders, and most of these are folders for prefab objects. So I'm just going to keep things organized again, and I'm going to create a folder, prefabs, and all my prefab object folders, I'm going to put them into that folder. So those guys go in there, and these guys are going to go in there so that keep everything kind of neat. I kept these objects up here because I'm going to be like putting them out a lot. And this grass effect, that's the effect that when I'm walking that the grass kicks up. I don't need that here. I'm just going to stick that in the prefabs too. Okay, because these guys I'm going to leave out here because when I'm making the level, I'll be, dragging and dropping them in. All right, so now let me go to my bag of tricks folder on my hard drive, and I did do a drawing for an enemy eye guy. And like most of my other drawings, this is the initial drawing, so I could like work on the game here. And I'm going to put him in here. And yep, there he goes. So he's a sprite. First, I'm going to have him be an enemy that's animated. You know, animated is always better than just standing still. So I'm going to open up the sprite editor. And I have the bone editor and the skin weights and geometry. Now, the reason I have these two menu items is because I installed the 2D animation package, which, all right, maybe you didn't see the other videos, so let me just bring that up. Let me close that. The 2D animation package, it's right here, but if it's not there for you, you could install it by going to Window, Package Manager, and then you pick it from the All Packages, and you just click Install, okay? So I have it here. Now I'm going to use it on my sprite to add some bones to my sprite. All right. So there's 3 steps. First, I have to add the bones. So I'm going to add 1 bone here. And then stop. And then I'm going to add a bone. Let me see, from this bone, I want to add 2 connected bones. One for the top of his eye. Okay, and one for the bottom of his eye. I want to be able to like make his eye open and close. And then I'm going to add one over here for the eyebrow and one over here for this eyebrow. And then I'm going to have to add something for the feet. So there's one on this foot and one on this foot. So I add this eyebrow one because I think I'm going to have him blink in his idle. All right, so that's the bones. Now I'm going to press apply. And now I'm going to go to step 2 and 3, the geometry. And I just generate some geometry. And what that does, it has these little outlines, but the outline detail is not high enough, so I'm going to increase it. And there you go. Now the outline's kind of following the model. And I may want to do some subdivisions. Let's see, because I want the eye to blink. So I want to have enough subdivisions on it so that the eye's going to move when he blinks. I think I could move these points. Yeah. So I'm going to move these points right here along the eye so that they could correspond. I get a better eye blink. Okay. Let's take that point, put it right there. And the feet are fine. The The ears are fine. So let me save. And then for the weights associate the bones to the geometry. I'll just press auto. Okay. Let's see how this works. And say apply. All right, so let's see how this works with him meshed up like this. I could close the sprite editor. And I could drag and drop a copy of my sprite in here. Let's stick them over here. Oh, you just get the gun right there. I just gotta stick them in the game somewhere for now. So we're gonna put you, it's gonna put you over here, and I think you're way too big right now. So let me shrink you down a little. There you go. For the scale of the game. And then there's one last thing we gotta do so we could like move the bones. We're gonna have to take the sprite that we added, the eye guy, and we're gonna have to add a special script called the sprite skin. So I just typed in the word skin here to find it, and then I click on it. And then with the sprite skin, I just say create bones, and that, as you can see, lets me add the bones. Okay. So now I'm just going to make some animations for him. So I select the eye guy, and then I go to my animation window. So I say window animation. Okay, and my animation window, I just drag and dropped it over here into the bottom panel. And it says to begin animating eye guy, just click create. So I'm going to create, and I'm going to name the first animation idle. This is the one where it's just standing there minding its own business. So I'm going to press record, and then this is at time frame 00. I'm going to go up a little bit in time, and let me see if I could make his eye blink. That's not really a blinking eye. That's like his whole body squishing. How about if I go from up here? Oops. Well, it's something. It's something. So, yeah, it's like he's looking like that. All right, so when he kind of squeezes his eyes down, maybe I could make his eyebrows also go down a little bit and leave the tips of them up there in the air when they come down. Okay. So he's just waiting. So that's good animation for the one eyeball. And what about the feet? Should they do anything? Maybe just tap a little bit like that. Then I'll copy the first frame over. Control C for copy. And then over here, I'll press Control V for paste. And now if I scrub, it should look every once in a while he's going to blink. Okay. So I know that's going to go way too fast right now. So I could stretch out the time. Okay. Let's see how that looks. So now he's just constantly blinking. Perhaps what I want to do is, let me click in the area to not select anything and then select the first row, Control C, and then over here at 5, I'm going to Control V. So what I'm doing from here to here, there's not going to be a change in animation. And then for the rest of the cells, I'm going to have it for a while that he's not blinking. That's what I'm trying to do. And then he blinks at the last moment instead of just constantly blinking. So that would look like this. See how he's like, he waits and then he blinks. And now with that in place, I could even elapse the time between when he blinks. So let me just move these guys down even further. Okay, like 1 blink per second maybe. Let's see. So you stand there, and he blinks. So that's going to be my idle animation for this guy. Should there be any other animation? Well, for right now, there's the idle, and then I guess he has to have a die animation, because if I have my gun and I'm going to shoot him, he should be able to have some kind of a die animation. So I'm going to make a new animation, call it die. And now I got to figure out, what do I want it to look like when he dies? Does he just melt away? maybe he won't stand on his feet. He'll kind of like his feet will he'll just fall off his feet right to the ground, you know, like this. And I did that on frame 0. Darn it. Let me just erase those. Delete. Yeah, so I have record on. I gotta move up from frame 0. So he starts from here. And then he could probably just fall down on his feet like this. And I imagine that, of course, his eyes will close. Yeah, maybe he falls down like that. And his eye's going to droop down. And okay, first, yeah, his eye droops down, and then make his eye come down. Okay, and maybe the eyebrows start coming down, and we'll leave a little bit of a motion effect there until finally everything is just down. Eyebrows, eyeball, and then the eyebrows come down too. Yeah, so that looks pretty defeated. So let me see how that looks. And then maybe he'll poof away or something with some kind of special effect. So let's see how fast that plays. A little bit fast, a little bit too fast. So let's stretch out the time a little bit. Let me select all the cells and stretch it out. Give him a chance to. Okay. Maybe on this last frame where the eyebrows go down, even just a little bit more time. So let's see how that looks. Oh, no, go to the first frame and play. Okay, that's good enough for now. So we got he's standing there, and then when he gets shot, he'll just kind of depress. Now the only thing is for collision to happen when we do hit the sprite. Let me turn off record, come back over here, and can I get him just standing up for goodness sakes here? I'll go to idle. There we go. So we're going to add a collider onto him, and we want the collider to move with him when he moves. So we will put the collider on this bone. And let me just add, oh, let's take off that search that we had before so we could show all our components. And in the Physics 2D, I say we add a capsule collider because that's about the shape that he is, capsule-y. All right, and we're just going to turn it from being a vertical one, see that little green circle there, and we're going to make it a horizontal one. All right, and then I could use this to manipulate it, okay, to match up with his shape. All right, and then anything, let's put this down to the bottom so his feet don't go through the floor. So this will be his collider. File, save. All right, and should put a rigid body on him so he stays on the floor. Physics 2D rigid body. Good. And he has gravity, so he comes down to the floor. And if I press play right now, he should stay right on the floor. See if I pick him up, press play. Just look over here. He's not dropping. Why not? Oh man, did I put the rigid body? I put it on the where I put the bone. Let me take that off there, remove it there. This has the collider, but to the eye guy at the top level, I'm going to put the rigid body. Rigid body 2D. Okay, there you go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, guys, what do we do for that when the bodies are rolling off? We have to take the rigid body and constrain motion on the Z. to stop it from rotating, so that when he drops, he doesn't roll over. Because you see the shape of the collider is circular. There, so that should keep him from falling over. Okay, so here's my eye guy. Select him and drag and drop him in here to make a prefab. All right, now let's organize this. This is a sprite, put it in there. And these three things are my eye guy, which is a prefab. So let me go ahead and make a folder for him. Eye guy. Okay. And let me just drag his three things in there. Right there. All right, so I got a prefab for my eye guy. And he doesn't do anything but play his animation. And Mr. Peabody's going to come along, and we'll have it that if Mr. Peabody touches him, that Mr. Peabody's going to die. So let's go to the Mr. Peabody script, and we're going to have to check the script to make sure that if Mr. Peabody touches that enemy, that death animation. So let me just shrink everything down, outlining, collapse the definitions, and let's see what we got here. Here's the collision enter. So this is when Mr. Peabody touches something on the collision enter. And right now we're seeing if he touches a weapon, he picks it up. If he touches any part that's a level, like the ground, then we'll say he's landing from jump, but we'll check for that. And if he's a level platform, we're landing from jump. So let's have another else. Else if the collision object that we're colliding with, collision.game object compare tag enemy. If it's tagged as enemy is true, now we're going to say that we touched the enemy, and we basically want Mr. Peabody to die. We don't want him to die, but that's going to be the game that he's going to hit the enemy, and that's bad for Mr. Peabody. So we will say here, for now, we'll just put a little holder, debug.log. Peabody die. Okay, and maybe we'll just play a sound. Sound play sound dot die dot play the guitar sound. Boo! All right, just for now. So if we touched this bad guy, we should die. Now I have this bad guy way over here, and we're just gonna be testing this out. So let me just get it. Let me just move him closer so we don't have to run all the way through the level just to test this. All right, I'm just gonna put him like over here so we don't have to go through the whole level to test it. And we press play. So when I touch it, I want to see right here that it says I touched him and I'm dying, and here we go. Little jump there, little jump here, little jump. Got my first obstacle jump. And there he is. Ready, guys? Okay, good. So it recognizes when we do touch that eyeball, and we do play the die sound. Okay. Oh, let's also make it a thing that we have. I guess I had to make him a little bit smaller because this eyeball guy's still kind of big compared to our Mr. Peabody. So I'm gonna make him a little bit smaller. Save that, transform. And the other thing I'm gonna do, I had put the gun out here. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? Here it is. I put the gun here. Let's also make it that I could get the gun sooner so I could test this whole thing about shooting an enemy. Then later on, I'll have to make the thing where I actually make a good level where things are in the right place. So let's have this gun like right here. So when we jump up here, we have to get the gun, and then I'm going to see when I shoot the bullet, we're going to have the eye guy that if the bullet hits the eye guy, that the eye guy, he plays his die animation. Okay, so here's the gun that I can catch. Here's the eye guy. Now let me go to a script for the eye guy. Now I haven't added my own script for eye guy yet, so this will be a new script that I'm going to add, and I'll call it the eye guy script. Enter. Script to open up in Visual Studio. Okay, let's see. Here's the script right here. Let's put it in with him in the prefab. To open it, I just like to line up the brackets. All right, and guy. First thing we need him to know is what is his animator. Okay, anim equals null, and that could be private. We don't have to let the user see that in the inspector window. Private void start, and in the start function we'll set the anim equal to this dot get component animator. All right, bam. Now we have the animator. We know already by default it's playing the idle animation. Now let's go to the iGuy's animator right here. And as you can see, it is playing idle by default. And at some point, it's reading the script. At some point, it's going to have to play the die animation, like if he dies. So what do we do, guys? We've been doing this for this whole game for all these videos. First, we have to make a transition from idle to die. And then to control when we do that transition, we're going to make a parameter. We'll say trigger die. Okay. And over here, he'll go to the die animation if the die trigger fires off. And when he does do the die, there's no exit time. Now we know the animations loop by default. So I think I'm missing an animation over here. Here it is, idle. iGuy's idle animation was still sticking out over there. All right, so we have the idle animation. We'll leave that looping. And then we have the die animation, which we only want to play once. So I'll turn it off. So idle and die, boom, right? There we go, file, save. Good, so we have control of when it's gonna switch to the die. Now let's look in the, sorry, I'm jumping around. I'm gonna go back to the script, and here it is. We're gonna check to see private void update. No, what's he gonna do in the update? Not much. What we want is an event. We want to read the event private void on collision enter 2D. Okay, so Mr. Peabody's there, and if something, not Mr. Peabody, the eyeball guy's there, and if something hits the eyeball guy, we want to know. Okay, so if the player hits the eyeball guy, if the player hits it, what's Mr. Peabody? Mr. Peabody is tagged as a player, but the bullet, let's see what the bullet's tagged as. Here's the bullet. The bullet's untagged. All right, we're gonna have to make a tag for the bullet. So I'm gonna say enemy tag. I'm gonna add a tag here and call it bullets. You know. All right, and then I'm gonna go to the bullet prefab and I'm gonna tag it as a bullet. Okay, and that was editing the prefab itself, so I don't have to save it to the. Now I go back to iGuy and I go back to the script, and over here I say if the thing that collides with me, collision dot game object dot compare tag to bullet equals true, then I'm going to anim dot set trigger die. So it's going to play the die animation. Okay. So we type a little bit of code, we save it, come back over here, and let it read the script, and we test it. Okay. You always type a little bit of code and then you test it. So now press play. I'm gonna get that gun first. Gotta jump up for it. Good. That bullet's not gonna hit. I gotta get up to his level. It's not working. Why aren't the bullets hitting him? Why aren't the bullets hitting him? Let's see. Bullet is bullet. The gun is using the bullet prefab, right there. And in the eye guy, I wonder if it even detects the bullets hitting. Okay, I think I figured it out. You know, for any collision to happen, I need 2 colliders and 1 rigid body at least. So over here, if I look at the bullet prefab, look at it. It doesn't have any colliders on it. That's why. So let me add a collider to the bullet. Physics 2D. What kind of collider should I put on the bullet? Let's put it's kind of shaped like a capsule. Oh, let me just put it in the scene so I could work with it here. And let me zoom in on it. Okay, so we got the bullet, we got a physics 2D capsule collider and horizontal. There we go. And I'll just shrink it down a little bit to match up with the bullet. Okay, there we are. Now the bullet has a collider. Now we should also, I'm just going to put a rigid body on the bullet as well. So whatever it hits that, you know, it could be detected. Here we go, but I want to take off gravity. So put that to 0. Right. So file, save, and most importantly, let me save the new bullet prefab. And now I think that should solve my problem. I could take this bullet out of the scene. Should solve my problem with the bullet not being detected hitting the enemy. So here I come. There you go. And the enemy dies. Now when he dies, he kind of looks like he comes up a little bit, the animation of it. So let me just work on that animation for the eye guy when he dies, and just pay attention to where the floor is in relation to his feet. Let's see if he goes down a little. I know what it is. This collider won't let him go down any further. Ay, 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 ay. Let's see. So, because when this goes down, his collider doesn't go. So maybe the collider, I don't want it to be attached to his root. That's something. Can I edit the collider as well? So at this stage, can I edit the collider? Project, animation. Oh, I lost focus on him. Animation. And this is the die, is it? Oh no, this is idle. This is the die. And there you go, he goes down. If I edit the collider, I know you could edit everything. So, I think I could edit the collider. No, I don't know. What am I gonna do about this? Eye guy. What am I gonna do about you, man? Let's see. Because your collider is keeping you from touching the floor. And the collider's on the root right here. If I edit it and I pick it up. Man, oh man. Alright, how about he has a collider for his body if it gets hit. Okay, and then he has 2 other colliders on his feet. How about if that's what I do instead? So let me make this collider on his body. And then let's find the feet. Here's 1 foot. And I'll add a collider here. Physics 2D. And I'll just make it a, who cares, I'll just make it a circle. And then on his other, and let's make it a circle and just move it a little. There you go. Ah! Which bone was that? Right there. Edit. Okay, and then I'll just put another one on the other foot. physics 2D, make that one a circle, edit that. Now let's see what happens if, if I press play, does he still stand on the grass? Yeah. And then if I do this animation over here, that's good. And he kind of drops his feet and he drops. All right, so let's play the game and see if we fix that little detail. And I think that we'll call it a night. All right, good. We call it a night. We could shoot him, he could die, and it's been 40 minutes. Good night.